Hello, my name is Scott Merle, and this is my final project presentation for my responsive web dev class. A little bit about me. I am an IT major with a CS minor here at University of Missouri. I am a senior. This is my first year doing web dev, though I had one semester before, and this is my second semester in it. So that's a little bit about me. The webpage I decided to make is for our upcoming club that we're about to start this next semester called the VR Club. I wanted to just give some information about the VR Club. It was going to be somewhat like a recruiting tool so that we can give out the website and people can actually discover more about it just through the website. I wanted to show different elements and technologies in the website. I wanted them to know what they were going to get into, what they were going to be involved in. And I also gave membership information or leading membership information. So if they do want to join the VR Club, they can contact those people and sign up for the VR Club. The tools I used to actually make this web page was framework from Bootstrap, W3.CSS, and UIKit. I also made one of the pages with my own media queries and breakpoints and the responsive tools that we learned through the class. And I'm hosting this through AWS on a node hosting. So just to show you off a little bit about my website. Go home. This is the home screen, so whenever they first come into the website, this is what they see. It gives them a little bit of information about the website. This also tells about different technologies and things that we're going to be doing inside of the VR Club. On this page is where I decided to put the information about the leading members so they can contact them through that. All of these different 3 categories I decided to make different headings for so I can give more information about it. So if they go to click onto one of these different tabs, they can see more information about whatever they clicked on. Now, this is the page I used Bootstrap with. It's completely responsive, as you can see, so it can work on all devices. And the next page, I put a hamburger menu up here with a drop down, so it doesn't clutter up the page with all the information whenever you resize it. So this page I used W3.CSS in order to make it look responsive. With these, it lists different types of technologies that we'll be using in the VR Club, and whenever you come down here to click on the technology that it's talking about, it has a drop down that shows more information about that technology. All 3 of them have them. Once again, it's completely responsive with a hamburger menu that pops up whenever you size it. The next one is for game dev. A lot of students here are into game dev, but game development, but they don't know where to go and some of them are really good at game development, so we're just trying to bring those like minds together. This gives some information about the different platforms we'll be using in game dev, and it tells a little bit more about those platforms, the pros and cons of those platforms, and what they'll be getting into when they use those platforms. But also down here, I also made another table, and this table just outlines the information I posted above, but they can also use this Modar here and click on it and go to a downloadable page where they can download the software onto their own computers and start using it. So I hope that's very useful to them. I also put some pictures up here so they can it's more of a gaming type page for them. The last page is technology as far as making VR movies, because we're going to be using 360 3D cameras, and whenever you use 3D cameras, it's something new that a lot of people are interested in. Every time we show them, it's really cool. So I I put a little bit of history about the 360 3D cameras that we're going to be using and the different types of 360 cameras and the old types of ways of adding video into Unity and the benefits of the new technologies that we have today. I also put more information down here about the different types of cameras that there are out there in order to start doing 360 cameras. Those are all 360 cameras that you can buy. Some of them affordable, some of them not so much. The most non-affordable one is probably the best one that I have listed, but they can actually see the quality and the things that it will do. Once again, this is the page that I used to with my own media queries, my own breakpoints, my own the tools that we used in class, such as No More Tables, which is down here at the bottom, image resizing, and as you can see, when you get small enough, the tables go away. I might need to center them up a little bit more, but all the pages are responsive. This one I made with UIKit. I pretty much tried to stick as much as possible with the same design, but just using different frameworks to see what worked and what didn't work. I wanted to get a certain feel for each page, and so I had to actually search frameworks to find the right type of framework for those pages. So now, as far as problems that I came across, not all frameworks are equal. And what I mean is that some of them, they don't have a lot of tools to them, or they don't have tools that you're wanting to use. Some of them are, whenever they have their web page that describes how to use the tools, they're not descriptive enough, and you have to actually work with them to get them to work. Your most popular ones like Angular and UIKit and W3.css, they have web pages that fully describe what you can do, but on these other not so popular ones like CUDA and all these new frameworks coming out, their pages aren't as descriptive and they don't have as many tools. So I had to explore the right types of frameworks for the design that I wanted, because I wanted to make it somewhat uniformed all across all the pages. So I wanted to make sure that whenever I used each framework that I could use their tools and into the certain areas that I wanted, and that it wouldn't actually go against any of the styles that I had. Whenever I was, one of the lessons I learned from doing the media queries and the breakpoints, especially on my own, was that sometimes whenever you add something as in your CSS for the larger scales, you sometimes interfere with what happens with the smaller. And I'm mostly talking about when you do your JavaScript and things like that. But sometimes if you add something, you might actually lose a functionality of something that you made when you were doing smaller. So always, whenever you're doing responsive web dev, always check how it looks when it's smaller again after you've added when it's bigger. So you start small and then get it all laid out, and then you resize it, and then you say, okay, well, this looks better if I do it like this. But after you add that, resize it back down to its smaller size to make sure you did not interfere with anything you did whenever it was bigger. Another problem I have is I'm not really an artist, so I'm still getting used to some of the ways that web pages are looking and some of the cool designs and things that actually pop out. So I'm still experimenting with that, and so I'm getting better at it, though, hopefully. So some of the lessons learned, once again, is that, like I said, not all frameworks are equal. So make sure that whatever framework you're going to use, it might have just one function on there that you like, but it describes it very well, but it doesn't mean that everything on there is going to work the way you want it to. So you want to do a little bit of research and maybe even some testing out on frameworks before you decide to put them in your web page. Decide on how you want the information to be displayed so that you can then pick your framework based on that. So what I did is I just tried to organize all the content and outline everything so how I wanted my web page to read from start to end before I even started the web page. And like I said before, when you're starting small, always check when you're adding or when it's larger, because there you never know if you're going to actually mess something up, and then you've already implemented it and you went on to the next breakpoint, and then you go back and then you have to figure out, oh, where did I mess that up at? So and that can take a little while. But overall, I learned a lot from this class, and I like some of the tools, especially when it comes to frameworks. I love frameworks, and I'll be using them a lot more in the rest of my web designs.